the not being productive, the not getting the thing done is kind of a side effect of usually it's a symptom of something deeper. It's a symptom of some kind of fear or something missing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I am the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined once again, as always, by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily, what are we talking about today?
Well, recently in a workshop, you said that there's
I'm terrified about this.
Don't panic.
When I hear you said, I get really scared all of a sudden.
There's often no room for humanity in our task list.
Okay.
Well, I wrote it down and thought this would be a good thing to talk about. So what exactly did you mean by that?
I think it's really interesting when we think about task lists, we fill them infinitely, right? We have these all this technology now where it is easy to just fill everything on the list. But the reality is we don't put the really important things on there. Yeah. Like we kind of, I think we think of ourselves as robots, like we have this infinite capacity for achievement. And we just don't. And so we make these massive lists, and nowhere on there is there take care of yourself. Nowhere on there is there sit with your team and build trust and the really important things, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think like for me specifically, it's like, oh, if I don't put it on a list, it's never going to get done.
Yes.
But in reality, that we should adjust that just a little bit. Yeah. And if you don't schedule a time to actually do it, it's never going to get done. Just because it's on a list somewhere doesn't mean that's going to fix it.
That's a really good insight, and that was life-changing for me as a pretty non-productive person. Like I'm good at making lists. I'm really bad at actually accomplishing anything on the list. When I started pairing that up with, okay, when is that actually going to happen on the calendar? I got a real feel for my limited capacity.
Yeah. But then we also have to pair that with this like idea of humanity in our task list and like adding room for, like you talk about margin and adding margin to your calendar for that reason, right? The humanity of it and making sure that you have room for error.
Room for error, and I think room for the really important things, like stopping and asking as a leader, what does my team really need on a human level? Okay. Not on a how can they be more productive level, but on a what do they need from me? Well, they need care, they need support, they need trust, they need me to be vulnerable, right? And so as leaders, there's all these things they need that we're probably not providing because we're so focused on everything else on the list. And then what do I need? Like there's things we need as human beings in order to grow, and those things are often not on the list because they're not at that peak of like, am I being productive? Am I getting things done? We need rest. We need connection with other human beings. We were just talking before this with our producer John about this idea of connecting with other humans just to connect with them. It is not necessarily for a purpose. It's not necessarily to make their lives better.
There's
or
not
do some
bigger goal except for the fact of like we need to connect with people.
We need connection, and that's hard for an introvert to say. We need connection, but unfortunately we do. But I think it's understanding where is that going to go on your list. Where is that going to go on your calendar? Yeah. And that's the human side that when we think about all the organizations we work with, that they're having people problems, it's usually because they're not tending to the human side of things. They haven't taken the time to lead their teams and care for their teams, and so their teams are really struggling. Yeah. It's not necessarily a productivity thing, it's a human thing.
Yeah. It's that idea of like, well, they're not getting something done, so we need to like go make sure they know what they need to get done. But maybe we should like step back from that and see what they need. Why are they not getting these things done? Yes. What are they working with? Yeah. What do they need as a human, and not what do they need to get this job that they're not getting done?
Yeah. What are those base elements? Because really the not being productive, the not getting the thing done is kind of a side effect of usually it's a symptom of something deeper. It's a symptom of some kind of fear or something missing that they really need that we need to take care of. And so it's figuring out, can we start to do that? Can we start to care for our people and really care for ourselves? Like that's the hard piece of this is that's got to kind of come first, right?
Yes.
We think
taking care of other people I can do.
Well, we think about leadership and we think about selflessness, but the selflessness has to come from somewhere.
Yes.
And if it's coming from a burned out kind of broken person, it's not truly selfless.
Yeah, we talk about how empathy is the first thing to go.
Empathy and grace, first thing out the window. Yes. Boy, I experienced that this weekend. I'll tell you about that later. That's the first thing to go out the window whenever stress really kicks up, right?
Yes.
And so we really have to work on that. So I love that idea of just adding humanity for the task list, creating space for it. And so I think it's going to come in two ways. So leaders, let's talk next steps. I think step one is you need to create some tasks that are about caring for you. And you need to create some tasks that are about caring for your team. Make sure those are on the list in amongst everything else. It's not saying don't do everything else. It's saying that these probably need to be the priority in order to do everything else. And the second thing that Emily brought up is such a great point. Make sure it's on your calendar. If you say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, great. When is it going to happen? This is a scary exercise because what it's going to show you is how truly limited your capacity is. And it is. And I know that's hard to admit. It's hard for us to wrestle with, but it is limited. The reality is as soon as we realize that, we can then begin to prioritize the truly important things and make sure they're happening. So I would encourage you to add some more humanity to your task list and then add that to your calendar. All right, if people want to send us questions, if they want to send us ideas, we're back to recording. I'm so glad to be back to doing this. Yes. We took a brief break to get our new course launched, to get a new show launched, all the things happening at once. So we kind of needed some margin there because we just couldn't keep it all moving at once. I'm happy to be back to this. So if people want to send us questions or any subjects they want us to kind of wrestle through, where do they send that to?
They send it to lab@forwardpartners.net.
Lab@forwardpartners.net. And if they want to be able to find us online where we're putting out content like this all the time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where do they find that?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner. Emily, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
John, thank you for producing. We are so excited to be back in the studio with you. And thank y'all for watching, for liking, for reviewing us, by the way. It means the world to us. It really helps us reach a bigger audience. So thank you so much for doing this. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.